Deborah Thornton, and I am in the ensemble. I'm a multiplayer. I play Mark's mom and the coat vendor and assorted other little pop-ups, angry building tenant.
I wanted to talk to you specifically, Deborah, because you have a history with Rent. Or maybe not with Rent, but with a bohemian lifestyle. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, I actually was a young bohemian artist in New York City and Baltimore in the 90s. So I do have a connection to this material. These people, the characters in the show, could have been people I knew. I could probably give you a different name for every character in the show, somebody that I actually knew back in the day. You know, we were just talking about that song in notes after rehearsal too. We were talking about the song Contact. Some of the young cast members are still kind of struggling with embarrassment around that particular song. And it really is a very powerful moment for us in the 90s living with that experience. We got kind of loud and obnoxious about things because it was about survival. Because if it stayed hidden, if it stayed swept under the carpet, it wasn't going to get dealt with. It wasn't going to get the attention that it needed. It wasn't going to get the research that was needed. People weren't going to get the treatments that they needed. People were dying. We all knew somebody who was dying, or at least who'd been infected and expected to be dying down the road. And, you know, everybody kind of wondered, am I going to be the next one that gets infected? And it was a tough time. It was a tough time to be a young person exploring your sexuality, exploring your place in the world, and where do I fit? And there was always just kind of that cloud hanging over of, if I get in a relationship with the wrong person, or maybe it's even the right person, but they don't know they're infected, or a relationship with somebody, or even just sharing pleasure with somebody that isn't sharing their status. It's so hard to explain to somebody that hasn't lived with that what that was like. And this show really does, if it's done well. The big comparison people try to make between, you know, for young people to understand what the AIDS epidemic was like for our generation is the whole COVID thing. But COVID didn't affect young people the same way. It mostly affected old people or immunocompromised people, whereas AIDS could strike anyone. And it largely was an issue for young people because older people largely maybe have paired off and settled down and aren't still exploring different relationships and potentially sharing body fluids with more than one person, ideally. There's the one scene, the one song that causes a lot of embarrassment for some of our young actors in the rehearsal process because there are words, you know, heat, sex, sweat, and latex, rubber, latex, you know, and it's just, they're not understanding. They're starting to understand now that we're getting closer to production. How scary that really was. Like, a broken condom could be the difference between life and death. Or somebody saying they were going to use one and then not using one. So that moment in the show that hits on that latex, no latex, I missed, or whatever the words are in there, that's a scary moment. It's a scary moment, and it's a powerful moment. And spoiler alert, Angel comes in that song having already died of AIDS. And instead of saying, today for you, tomorrow for me, he says, today me, tomorrow you. People exchange body fluids. And back in the early days of the AIDS epidemic, there was a lot of fear around, how does this stuff spread? Can I get it from someone sneezing on me? Can I get it from shaking hands with somebody who's infected? Can I get it in a hot tub? Can I get it if they touch me? Can I get it if we breathe the same air? Can I get it if a mosquito bites them and then bites me? There was so much ignorance and so much fear about it. People were really afraid. And so we did a lot of educating. We did a lot of educating about how this really spreads. And we did a lot of educating about how to use a condom properly, pinch the tip, roll it down. I mean, we would go out and model with a cucumber, for heaven's sake, whatever it took to teach people to do this the right way, because this is important to keep you safe. Bottom line, because human relationships, whether they're sexual or otherwise, friendship, love, that's what really matters. At the end of the day, at the end of the week, at the end of the month, at the end of the year, at the end of a life, love